I knew when I wrote the first book that if it was going to be a series, I knew how I wanted to approach that series, and that is that Gwynnie herself doesn't change all that much, but the world changes around her, and the dogs that she is sitting for change. I knew that I wanted to have a different breed of dog in each book to keep things interesting, and also that sort of influences the story in a way. So in the first book, she's looking after a couple of purebred Salukis, which are, not many people know Salukis, but the dogs I had were both Saluki crosses, so I know that sort of dog quite well. Um, so yeah, that was fun and interesting. The second book, The Dog Sitter Detective Takes the Lead. The dog that she's sitting for is a border collie. Now, I grew up with a border collie, and I know other people with border collies. I think they're lovely, wonderful dogs, and of course they're the smartest dogs around, but also completely indefatigable. So, whereas Salukis and long dogs like that are actually really lazy, and could just sort of lie around while Gwynnie was off investigating. With the border collie, suddenly this border collie's with her all the time, desperate for exercise and for stimulation. And so the dog's just sort of stuck to her ankle the whole book, which I thought was just an interesting contrast to the first book. And also that book is set. So the first book is set another mystery set in an English manor house, and she investigates when her best friend is accused of murdering her groom to be, on the day of her wedding. The second book is set in an area of London called Little Venice, which is a houseboat community and is a very sort of feels like an enclosed community, even though it's in the sort of in the heart of London. It's only 5 minutes from Paddington rail station. So that was a really interesting setting, and so I could fill that with quirky, interesting characters. And then the third book, The Dog Sitter Detective Plays Dead, is set on in an English manor house again, but this time it's a film set. So she's on location. She has a small part in a film, and they're filming on location at a manor house. And in that book, she's looking after a Jack Russell Terrier, which again are a completely different personality of dog. So it was, a real tearaway. So that was fun. And in that book, she's surrounded by other actors. So again, very, big, larger than life characters, very big personalities, and again allowed me to sort of draw back the curtain a little on the world of showbiz and film production. First of all, I should clarify that the dogs are not magical. The dogs do not take on the investigation. They're not magical. They're not she doesn't talk to them psychically or anything like that. I have nothing against books where that happens, but that's not what these are. These are realistic dogs written from the point of view of a dog lover for other dog lovers. I want people who know these breeds to recognize what I'm writing about them, and get some entertainment from that. But I do shape the story a little around the personality of the dog in that book, and give them opportunities to help in some way. And like I say, not in a kind of anthropomorphized way, but more in that this breed of dog is naturally going to do X. So how can X help Gwynnie in this particular investigation? And there's a good example in the latest book, in The Dog Sitter Detective Plays Dead, where Lily, the Jack Russell Terrier, Jack Russells are renowned, they dig. They're ratting dogs, and they will dig for days, to get rodents and find rats and what have you. And a vital clue in the solution of the case is found by Lily digging and sticking her nose in where it shouldn't be, because that's the nature of Jack Russells. They will do that, and you can't stop them doing that. Because the minute you turn your back, they're off doing it again. But as I say, in this case, even though Gwynnie is, because she's a tearaway, Gwynnie is trying to stop Lily doing these things, she's actually very glad that Lily is like that in the end, because yeah, she unearths a vital clue in the case. And so that's, as I say, I try to sort of make sure that the dogs are involved in some way in every story. It differs more or less depending on the story, but the nature of the breed does influence the mystery and how things play out.